How did it start? I mean, fuck, dude. Let's just go back to the beginning. What, like, your beginning of your photography career, at least, like, because writing is a different thing too. They went hand in hand, and I'm curious what. So you sent photos to Fat Tony and Jeff Z. They teach you how to get it ready for print. Then what happens as far as your photography career?
Well, well, with photography, I guess it starts like well before those emails were sent, But let's see. I was thinking about it, and it was funny because last night I dropped into an old hard drive, and it took me back to like '08, '09, 2010, and stuff. But it essentially started, like my uncle taught me how to shoot photos, like right before I got into high school. Like I got like a film camera. I've always shot Nikon stuff. Um, and I got a little film camera. He took me around and taught me how to drive and stuff. And um,
That's a good uncle.
yeah, yeah. And on that trip, he taught me like, he's an old school photographer as far as he used to shoot, um, back in the '80s, like late '70s and '80s, like a lot of the commercial advertising stuff. Like he assisted on some jobs with like the Marble ads and like the Camel Cool ads and stuff like that, and shot
Sick.
like
That's paper.
yeah, shot like Bob Hope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bob Hope's got a road here in LA, stuff like that. So so he taught me like all the traditional values of like how to shoot film, like just straight up composition and just how to see things and not worry about what the camera's doing. It's like, how you see the world, and then eventually your camera becomes seamless with your vision.
Yeah.
And so I've been able to like figure that out over the years.
So
But yeah,
philosophy and the technical aspect of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and so that stuff, like I had a whole bunch of film by the time I got into 10th grade, because like in freshman year of high school, I couldn't be in photo lab. So I just had all this film from riding BMX with all my core friends who I like started riding BMX with, because I used to play soccer and stuff from when I was like 4 years old, all kinds of sports, but I always played soccer up until like I was getting into high school, and I decided not to try out for the high school soccer team against everyone's advice, because I decided to just start hanging out with my other friends who rode BMX,
Yeah.
because there was no coaches or no teams. And I wasn't all like anti, like, like giving a middle finger to that soccer thing or whatever, because I loved it. But it was just more so like at that point in time, I just transitioned to being more, I guess, not being told what to do, really, kind of just
Yeah.
trying to learn on my own regard and hanging out with kids that were like out in the world, not just like at soccer practice and at soccer tournaments and stuff.
Dude, it's dope to think about that little choice in high school, which might seem like not that big of a deal, but it shaped your entire life, like
For
in
sure.
a way.
Because
It's
I was
so
I
sick.
was aiming I was aiming big time to, you know, play professional soccer and football in Europe,
Yeah.
and do that whole thing. So it was a big life shift, and I knew it, I felt it, but obviously didn't have any kind of hindsight to what's happening now.
Yeah.
But so riding BMX with all my boys from like Taylor Ranch back in Albuquerque, New Mexico, fucking where like, where Double Ditch jams at and all that
Yeah.
stuff, Los Altos skate park. And so, those friends were like, you know, Matt Armijo, um, Mitchell O'Connor, Mikey Chavez, like Marcus Lucero. And Marcus Lucero was my homie who I got, who was the one that I shot the photo of. It's no one probably knows, it's like literally like this big, like 2 by 3 inches or something, in the reader section of Transworld. That was like my first print photo.
Sick.
So that was him. So all those core homies that I used to hang out
When was
with.
this? When was your first? That's huge. To how stoked were you, man, to get in a photo in a
Well, I
magazine?
was I was hella stoked. It was the reader section, and it was like, in the very back, like by the little index or something. And you got your name like in a little contributor page for the index.
Mm-hmm.
So sick. So yeah, it was just a tiny little thing, and that was shot at UNM. That spot's, ripped out now, stuff like that. So it's like,
Who?
it was a good,
That's
monumental
huge,
moment.
dude. Yeah. Who
Yeah,
was the
yeah,
first
yeah.
person you showed? You show your uncle?
No, I probably showed Marcus. I
Sick.
probably showed my boy Marcus that the first thing
Yeah. That's
right
awesome,
away.
man. When was this? 2007?
Man, I couldn't tell you. Well, probably yeah, because like I graduated in '07. I graduated high school in '07.
Okay.
And so I had a house right after that, right by UNM, right by the university. My sister moved to Texas for the first time and took over her house and took Nate Richter's old ramp to that house and all kinds of stuff. That place was loose. You've probably been there,
The
but
BMX house.
once upon a time.
Yeah.
And yeah, so what was it? Where were we? I just lost my
So
train of
we
thought.
just got published
Talking about the
in
house.
in the reader
Yeah.
section.
Yeah, so
And
I live down the street from the university, and me and Marcus, we just, he's my best friend. He's one of my core best friends from back in the day, and we would just pedal down the street. So it was probably like '08, '09, like right after high school. We just pedaled down and shoot stuff all the time.
yeah.
I just bought a new lens from Kurt's Camera Corral on Central, and just like,
Sick.
all that stuff. So I shot with that new lens. It was the coolest thing I've ever done. Sent
Yep.
it in and it worked. It was sick.
That's a dope first step, dude. That's wild.
Yeah.
We've reached the end of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed that clip. If you want to support me and the podcast, just subscribe and share the show with your friends. The full episode is in the description, so if you haven't, go check that out. It's also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and wherever you listen to podcasts. And the goal is just to grow. So if you could share the show with your BMX homies, that'd be dope. If anybody that you know that is a BMX nerd and would enjoy this podcast, do me that favor, and we'll keep all these clips coming and one episode every week. So I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.